We all loved fairy tales when we were kids. In fact, we all loved Disney movies because they always had happy endings. Am I right? But did you know that Disney's been tricking us for decades now, because some of our favorite Disney movies have shocking original stories and gruesome details that Disney left out on purpose? Don't believe me? Let's take a look. The original Peter Pan is a charming, careless, selfish boy who never grows up, takes credit for everyone else's success, and refuses to accept responsibility for anything. That's why Wendy never stays in Never Never Land. She realizes she's been trapped by his web of lies and manages to escape. At the end of the original J.M. Barrie play, it's made clear that Peter Pan isn't living a real life because he prefers his sociopathic delusions in Neverland. The play's narrator closes the show with the lines, "To live would have been an awfully big adventure, but he never got the hang of it." Disney skips over Peter's true nature in the film for obvious reasons.
This won't do. What's the matter with you? All it takes is faith and trust.
Like many fairy tales adapted from the golden age of Grimm stories, Snow White had a far more gruesome ending that Disney cut out. First of all, in the original 1812 Grimm version of this tale, the evil queen is Snow White's actual mother, not her stepmother. We don't know, but that makes it a lot more terrifying to us. The Disney version also left out the fact that the queen sends the huntsman out to bring back Snow White's liver and lungs, which she then means to eat. It also leaves out the fact that she's not actually in a deep sleep when the prince finds her, she's dead. And he's carting off her dead body to play with when his servant trips, pushes the coffin, and dislodges the poison apple from Snow White's throat. Also, the evil queen doesn't fall to her death. She's made to dance until she drops at Snow White's wedding while wearing a pair of red-hot iron shoes. It's also worth noting that in the original Snow White fairy tale, Snow is about 10 years older, and when she meets the dwarf, it's because she's vandalizing their house, as opposed to cleaning it, as she does in the Disney version. The Disney tale Robin Hood wasn't even entirely based on the old British folktale of Robin Hood. It's also the retelling of the medieval saga Reynard the Fox. That's why everyone in it is a very specific animal. Both Robin Hood and Reynard were anarchist outlaws fighting the authority. Disney didn't want people to focus on all that communism, so they mushed the stories together and distracted you with the animals and Prince John's douchebaggery to draw attention away from the political values they were trying not to instill in their young.
Contemplating nothing but escape and finally making it. Oodle-lolly, golly, what a day.
The princess in the original fairy tale of Princess and the Frog is one of the most spoiled characters ever written. After the frog does a contract service for her, she repeatedly tries to go back on the promises she's made to him, and her kindly but doting father makes her do so as a lesson in responsibility. The princess even tries to kill the frog by throwing him against the wall repeatedly and smashing his little froggy head in. They cut that out of the Disney version, obviously, and made Tiana super nice. Now, Frozen is meant to tell the Hans Christian Andersen story of the Snow Queen. And while it tells the story of the Snow Queen, it barely gets the names right from the original story, which is probably a good thing because in that story, little Gerda isn't looking for her runaway sister, she's hunting for her best friend Kai, who's been kidnapped by the Snow Queen. The Queen and Kai both have ice powers from having a piece of a devil mirror pierced in their hearts, which can only be removed by true love's kiss. Disney did at least get some of the sidekicks right. Gerda is helped by a reindeer and some witch creatures, but Kristoff's character is actually originally a little robber girl Gerda befriends during the quest. Now, Disney was smooth with this next one. We all grew up not even questioning why it was okay for the prince to sneak into Sleeping Beauty's bedroom and give her a kiss while she was passed out. But maybe we should have. And in the original French fairy tale, it's even worse. It's not a kiss from the prince that finally wakes her, but the birth of the twins she bears from the prince who raped her while she was sleeping. There's also a version that has Sleeping Beauty's dad tricked into eating those twins by an evil fairy.
Oh!
I'm awfully sorry. I didn't mean to frighten you.
Oh, it wasn't that. It's just that you're
A stranger?
Now what about Little Red Riding Hood? If you can believe it, the Brothers Grimm actually made this story a lot nicer than when they originally got their hands on it. In Charles Perrault's version included in his 1697 collection stories, or fairy tales from past times, Tales of Mother Goose, there is no intrepid huntsman. Little Red simply strips naked, gets into bed, and then dies, eaten up by the big bad wolf, with no miraculous relief. In another version, she eats her own grandmother first, her flesh cooked up and her blood poured into a wine glass by her wolfish friend. Instead, Perrault gives us a little rhyming verse reminding us that not all wolves are wild beasts. some seduce with gentleness, sneak into our beds and get us there. The sexual innuendos are not lost on us. After all, the contemporary French idiom for a girl having lost her virginity was, "She has seen the wolf." Now the last one on our list is Hansel and Gretel. The version of the story we know is already pretty gruesome. The evil stepmother abandons the children to die in the forest. They happen upon a cannibalistic witch's cottage. She fattens them up to eat. They outwit and kill her and escape. The grim version is basically the same, but in an early French version called The Lost Children, the witch is the devil, and the devil wants to bleed the children on a sawhorse. Of course, they pretend not to know how to get on, so the devil has his wife, who tried to help the poor kids earlier in the story, show them. They promptly slit her throat, steal all the devil's money, and then run off. Are you surprised about all this at all? Let us know in the comments below what you think. That concludes another episode of Daily Break TV. Hit that subscribe button to keep watching more videos like this one.